Be honest. Have you been feeling a little off lately? Like something is shifting inside you, but you can't explain what it is? Everything looks the same. Your life, your routine, your people. But inside, something feels different. And it's not small. It's subtle, but powerful. If you've been ignoring this feeling, stop. Because this isn't just one of those phases. This isn't stress. This isn't overthinking. And no, you're not imagining it. What's happening to you right now is something most people never become aware of. But you did. And that changes everything. Because once you see this clearly, you won't be able to go back to who you used to be. So don't scroll. Watch this carefully. Because what I'm about to reveal might explain everything you've been feeling lately. And once you understand it, there's no unseeing it. You feel disconnected, not from everything, but from something you can't even name. People around you haven't changed. They talk the same, laugh the same, live the same. But your connection with them, it feels weaker, almost like you're there, but not really there. You sit with people, yet feel alone. You reply to messages, but don't feel like talking. Things that once excited you don't hit the same anymore. The music feels quieter. The moments feel shorter. The happiness feels incomplete. So you try to distract yourself. You scroll endlessly. You watch videos. You keep your mind busy. But the moment everything gets silent, that feeling comes back, stronger, heavier, and harder to ignore. And the worst part? You don't even know how to explain it. Because nothing is technically wrong. Your life isn't falling apart. No major problem. No visible reason. From the outside, everything looks completely normal. But inside, it feels like something is shifting. Like you're slowly becoming a stranger to your own life. And that quiet confusion is what scares you the most. Because you don't know what's happening to you. And you don't know where this is leading. Wait. Stop right there. Take a breath. Because what I'm about to say might completely change how you see this. This isn't burnout. Burnout makes you tired. This is making you aware. This isn't laziness. Laziness avoids effort, but you're questioning everything. And no, you're not going crazy. Crazy feels chaotic. This feels different. This feels like something inside you is waking up. Like your mind is trying to show you something, but you haven't fully understood it yet. And here's the part most people miss. This feeling you're fighting? It's not the problem. It's the signal. So what is this? What exactly is happening to you right now that you can feel it so clearly, but still can't explain it? Why does it feel like something is shifting inside you, like an invisible change? Slow, silent, but undeniable. And the strangest part, why do you suddenly feel out of place, even in your own life? The same people, the same routine, the same environment. Yet it all feels unfamiliar, like you're watching your life from a distance instead of actually living it. It's confusing, it's unsettling, and if you're being honest, a little scary too. Because deep down, you know this isn't temporary. This isn't just a mood. This feels permanent. Like something has already started, and there's no going back now. But here's where it gets even more intense. This doesn't happen to everyone. Most people stay comfortable, unaware, unchanged. But you're noticing it. You're feeling it. Which means something inside you is already ahead of where you used to be. There is a reason for this. A very real one. But the real explanation is deeper than you think. And once you see it clearly, everything you're feeling right now will finally make sense. Your brain is going through a shift, not something you can see, but something you can feel. This isn't physical, it's psychological. And it happens when your mind starts rejecting what no longer aligns with who you're becoming. Read that again, because this is where everything changes. Earlier, distractions felt comfortable. Endless scrolling, noise, constant stimulation. It kept you occupied. It gave your mind something to hold on to. But now it feels empty, forced, almost pointless. And that's not by accident. Your brain is no longer satisfied with surface-level engagement. It's craving something deeper, something real. Earlier, you needed people around you. Silence felt uncomfortable. Being alone felt heavy. But now, silence feels different. Not lonely, but safe. Like your mind is finally getting space to process something important. And here's the truth most people don't realize. This phase has a name. It's called the internal detachment phase, a psychological shift where your identity begins to separate from everything that no longer fits you. Your old habits, your old patterns, even your old version of yourself. And that's why it feels uncomfortable. Because your mind is literally breaking down what you used to be to create space for who you're becoming. It's a quiet transformation. No announcements, no clear signs, just a deep internal shift that slowly changes everything. And that discomfort you feel, that confusion, that sense of being lost, it's not a mistake. It's not something to fix. It's the transition, the space between who you were and who you're about to become. And most people never make it through this part. But the real reason is deeper, much deeper than what it looks like on the surface. And this is the part most people never reach. Because it requires awareness, it requires honesty, and it forces you to see something you've been unconsciously avoiding, something about yourself that once you notice, you can't ignore anymore. You've probably noticed this already. Little changes, subtle shifts, that don't look big from the outside, but feel intense on the inside. You enjoy being alone more now, not because you hate people, but because your energy feels protected in silence. It feels calm, clear, real. And when you're around too many people for too long, it drains you. Not physically, but mentally. You start feeling overwhelmed, even when nothing is actually wrong, and then you pull back, without explaining, without warning. Because deep down, you know you need that space. You've also stopped overthinking about people, their opinions, their validation, their reactions. They don't control you the same way anymore. Instead, your thoughts have shifted inward. Now you overthink your own life, your decisions, your direction, your purpose. Questions you never asked before are suddenly becoming louder, more intense, more impossible to ignore. And then there's conversations. Something about them feels different now. Surface level talk, fake interest, forced laughter. It exhausts you. You sit there, but your mind disconnects because it doesn't feel real anymore. And fake energy, you notice it instantly. The tone, the intention, the vibe, things you ignored before now stand out clearly. And instead of adjusting yourself, you distance yourself silently, without drama, without explanation. And then something even deeper starts happening. You begin questioning everything, not casually, but seriously. Your choices, why you chose them, your habits, why you repeat them, your lifestyle, whether it even reflects who you are anymore. Even your purpose, the direction you're going in, suddenly feels uncertain, like you've been following a path that doesn't fully belong to you. And that realization, it's heavy. Because once you see it, you can't unsee it. You can't go back to being unaware. You can't pretend everything is fine. And that creates a strange tension inside you. Part of you wants comfort, familiarity, the old version of your life. But another part wants truth, growth, something deeper, something real. And this internal conflict is what makes everything feel so intense, so confusing, so different. But here's the truth. None of this is random. None of this is a coincidence. Every shift you're noticing, every feeling you can't explain, every moment of silence that feels louder than noise, it all points to one thing: awareness. You're not just living anymore. You're observing, you're questioning, you're evolving. And once this level of awareness begins, there's no going back to who you used to be. Have you felt this before? Not just once, but repeatedly. Like something inside you keeps trying to get your attention? That quiet moment when you suddenly realize you don't fit in the same way anymore. You're in the same place, with the same people, having the same conversations. But something feels off, like you're out of sync with everything around you. Have you noticed that? That invisible gap between you and the world you used to feel connected to. And here's something even deeper. Have you realized you're outgrowing things silently? Not loudly, not dramatically, but slowly, quietly, without telling anyone. You stop reacting the same way. You stop chasing the same things. You stop needing the same validation. And no one even notices, except you. Because this change is happening internally. And maybe that's what makes it harder. Because you can't explain it. You can't point to it. You can't even fully understand it yet. But you feel it strongly, consistently. And sometimes it even scares you. Because you start wondering, where is this leading me? Why am I changing like this? Why can't I go back to how I used to feel? And the truth is, you're not supposed to go back. That version of you was temporary. But this is something else, something deeper, something real. So if you've been feeling all of this, if these questions have crossed your mind even once, then you need to hear this next part very carefully. Because what I'm about to explain might be the missing piece you've been searching for. And once you understand it, everything will start to make sense. Right now, whether you realize it or not, you're standing at a crossroads, not a visible one, but a psychological one. And from here, you only have two choices. The first one is easy. You can ignore this feeling, push it away, distract yourself again, go back to scrolling, noise, comfort, familiar routines. And for a while, it will work. You'll feel normal again, safe again, like nothing ever changed. But deep inside, that feeling won't disappear. It will wait, quietly, until it becomes louder, stronger, impossible to ignore, because truth doesn't fade. It follows you. Now the second choice is different. It's uncomfortable, unfamiliar, and honestly, a little scary. You choose to face it, not run, not distract, but actually sit with it, understand it. Ask yourself the hard questions you've been avoiding. Why am I changing? What no longer feels right? What am I holding on to that I've already outgrown? And the moment you do that, you step into something new, not perfect, not easy, but real. A version of life that isn't built on habit, but on awareness. And here's the truth. Most people never choose this path because comfort is addictive. But you're already aware, which means you're closer than you think. The only question left is, Will you go back or move forward into the unknown? You're not lost. It only feels that way because you're no longer who you used to be, and you haven't fully stepped into who you're becoming yet. You're in between, and that space, it's confusing. It's uncomfortable. It makes everything feel uncertain. But listen carefully. This isn't failure. This isn't breakdown. This isn't you falling apart. This is transformation. You're shedding an old identity, old patterns, old beliefs that once defined you. And when those layers start disappearing, of course it feels like you're losing yourself, but you're not losing anything real. You're releasing what was temporary, making space for something deeper, something more aligned, something more you. So no, you're not lost. You're just becoming someone you've never been before. And that version of you, it requires letting go of everything you thought you were. That's why it feels heavy. That's why it feels unfamiliar. Because growth doesn't feel like gaining. It feels like losing first. But what you're losing is exactly what you no longer need. And what you're becoming is something you haven't fully realized yet. This feeling is not confusion. It's not emptiness. And it's definitely not something that's wrong with you. This feeling means you're evolving slowly, silently, but powerfully. What you're experiencing right now is a shift in awareness. Your mind is shedding old patterns, patterns you repeated without questioning, habits you followed without awareness, beliefs you accepted without ever choosing them consciously. And now, those patterns don't fit anymore. They feel heavy, outdated, almost chugé, like they don't belong to you anymore, because they don't. Your identity is updating, not in a dramatic, visible way, but internally, at a deeper level. The version of you that once felt normal is slowly dissolving, and a new version is trying to take its place. But here's the part that most people misunderstand. Growth doesn't feel like growth when you're inside it. It feels like confusion. It feels like uncertainty. It feels like you don't recognize yourself anymore. Because you're not supposed to. You're in the middle of becoming. And your awareness, it's expanding. You're starting to see things you once ignored. You're noticing patterns you were once blind to. You're questioning realities you once accepted without doubt. And once that awareness expands, there's no going back. You can't unsee what you've seen. You can't unknow what you now understand. That's why everything feels unfamiliar. Not because your world has changed, but because you have. Your perception is different. Your priorities are shifting. Your energy is no longer matching what it used to. And that gap between who you were and who you're becoming is exactly what you're feeling right now. So don't misinterpret it. Don't label it as a problem. Don't try to fix it. Because this isn't something breaking. This is something upgrading. You're not the same person anymore. And you're not meant to be. This is the moment where everything starts changing from the inside out. Next time this feeling hits, and it will, don't run from it. Don't rush to distract yourself. Don't try to silence it with noise or escape it with temporary comfort. Pause. Just for a moment. And observe it. Not with fear, but with awareness. Because this feeling isn't here to hurt you. It's here to show you something. Something you've been ignoring. Something you've outgrown. Start asking yourself, what in my life no longer feels right? What am I holding on to just because it's familiar? What part of me is ready to change, but I keep resisting it? Because your mind doesn't create this discomfort without a reason. It's trying to guide you. Quietly. patiently, but clearly, if you're willing to listen. And yes, growth doesn't feel comfortable. No one talks about that part. They only show the results, not the process. But the truth is, growth feels confusing. It feels like you're losing clarity before you gain it. It feels isolating, like you're stepping away from everything familiar, without knowing what's ahead. It feels uncertain, like you're walking forward, without a clear path. But that's exactly how it's supposed to feel, because you're not following an old map anymore. You're creating a new one, and that requires space. It requires letting go. It requires trusting something you can't fully see yet. So don't fight this phase. Don't label it as a problem. Don't try to go back to who you used to be, just because it felt easier. Because easy doesn't mean right, and familiar doesn't mean aligned. This feeling? It's real. More real than anything you've been distracting yourself with. It's the signal that you're stepping into awareness, that you're breaking out of patterns that once controlled you, that you're becoming intentional about who you are and who you want to be. So the next time it hits, don't escape it. Sit with it, understand it, and most importantly, trust it. Because this isn't the end of something. This is the beginning of everything changing in the most real way possible. And remember, don't relax yet. Because what you've understood so far is only the surface. The most important part, it's still left. And this is where everything either finally makes sense or completely changes the way you see yourself forever. So stay with me, because the next part is the one most people never hear, and the one they never forget. Not everyone reaches this stage. In fact, most people never even come close. They stay distracted. Constant noise, constant scrolling, constant escape. They feel something is off, but they ignore it. They numb it. They bury it under comfort and call it normal. And slowly, they stop questioning. They stop growing. They stop becoming. But you didn't. Something in you refused to stay asleep. Something in you kept noticing, kept questioning, kept searching for something deeper, even when it was uncomfortable, even when it didn't make sense. And that's exactly why you're feeling this now. Because you didn't choose distraction. You chose awareness, even if you didn't realize it. And that's rare. Very rare. That's why this phase found you. That's why this message reached you. Not by accident, but because you were ready to see it, ready to feel it, ready to understand it. You're not behind. You're not late. You're right on the edge of becoming something most people never allow themselves to become. And once you cross this point, there's no going back to who you were, only forward into who you're meant to be. If this felt a little too real, like it was describing something you couldn't put into words, don't ignore that feeling. Don't scroll away like this was just another video, because it wasn't. Something in this message connected with you for a reason. Maybe not everything made sense right now. Maybe some parts still feel unclear. But give it time, because soon things will start aligning. You'll notice the patterns, you'll understand the shift, and in that moment, this message will hit differently. So save this video, not for now, but for later. For that moment when everything finally clicks, and you realize you were never lost. You were just waking up,